Yes, my name is Celia. I'll spell it out for you. It's Seliye, capitals. That's my grandmother's name, Celia. I'm from the Tsawout band, the Tsawout. I'm talking about the traditional perspectives of our lands. In other words, it's Chilean. Chilean in capitals, apostrophe C, E-L-E-N-E-N, Chilean. Chilean means the way of our life. Our life is been conducted that way for many generations. That's how we looked after the land. That's how we looked after the waters. That's how we looked after ourselves, our Chilean. We were the caregivers of this land. We all had our own place in our communities. We all played important roles. Everyone had roles and responsibilities, and we respected each one's roles. In that time, we didn't have any room for anger, resentment, greed, all these things that we have today. We all looked after each other, we respected each other, and their roles. We do have our own traditional scientific knowledge. Scientific knowledge is our 13 moons. Our 13 moons are there to conduct us in our daily lives and what we do. And it's 13 moons versus the 12 moons. We do have a book that is called The Sage Moons. And my late brother Earl and John Elliott put this book together. And it's in that book, it more or less is the Chilean, the way of our life and how we conducted ourselves. And every month, it would say, okay, these are going to be our tasks for this month. Time to put the canoes away. Time to go and get ready for the winter time. So that each of the moons, they were all indicators. Same with our plants. The plants played an important role in our communities. The ocean spray, not is it only a medicine, but it's also an indicator. An indicator that when the ocean spray starts to flower, that sockeye is at its peak. That is our scientific knowledge. Same with the Oregon grapes. That's why I kind of wonder about Chief Andy Thomas when he was talking about digging clams and they were saying that our waters are being polluted. I asked my mom one time, we went digging clams, and then, I said, well, what about this thing they call red tide? And she says, well, we'll try the clams, and if we start, our tongues start to get numb, we'll go and have a handful of Oregon grapes, and that'll take the poison away. So we have our scientific knowledge. Not only did it, we had it not just for our sea life, not just for our food, but for the winds. My grandfather knew how to read the winds. He knew how to read the tides. He knew how to say, okay, well, it's nice and calm out there, and my grandfather was saying it was so calm, and his family wanted to go away on their canoe, and my grandfather said, no, you can't. It's going to get really, really nasty out there today. No, they insisted. They said they wanted to go. And there they went, and they didn't live. So my grandfathers, they knew how to read the weather. There was 4 winds, the mother, the father, the son, and the daughter. And they all have traditional names. All of our islands are named after Ensign Chopin, and there's a reason why they're named Ensign Chopin. We would go to the islands and go and get our clams and our oysters, and go and get our deer and get it ready for the winter. I went to do a presentation at South Spring in Pender, and I was talking about my family. My dad used to go and do some training, and this white man came down, and he says, "Mr. Claxton," he says, "I'll give you some homemade butter and some eggs," he says, "if you go and get some fish for me." And he said, "Sure." So he did that. And I was talking about it, and later on after my talk, and this man came up to me and he was in tears. He said, "You were talking about my parents," he said. He was so emotional. And I said, the people in the islands that lived there years and years and years ago, they used to say, "It's about time you guys come home." He said that. "These islands are yours. It's about time you guys come home." He used to say that to my mom and dad and the ones that lived in our communities. So they didn't say this is our land. They knew it was ours. And we respected each other. And so each time we would go over there, we would go hunting or fishing or whatever it may be. And the people, they've always respected us. And they always acknowledged the fact that it was ours. Even the local tribes used to say, this is Savage lands. And I remember my grandfather was saying to my brother, he said that respect was on top of everything with all the local tribes. Respect was at the top. My oldest brother wanted to go fishing. He said to my dad, he says, "Let's go fishing over there." He says, "They're catching fish over there." And my dad says, "No, we can't. Our fishing spot is right here. We had a reef net site." And he says, "We can't go over there. That belongs to the Sam family." He says, "We can't go there. That's their fishing place." And that's where a lot of respect came along. And then all the respect, all the acknowledgments of our 13 moons, all the traditional scientific knowledge, in terms of our moons, in terms of the weather, everything that was our Chilean. That was our way of life. Even the animals played an important role. Chaos, I'll spell that out for you, it's capital X-A-L-S. Chaos is our creator. He was the one that created everything for us. The deer, in our language, is Smiet, S-M-I-E-T, capitals, Smiet. My mom said that's our grandchildren. They're considered our Ningana. And I said to my mom, I said, "Well, how did they hunt in the old days?" She says, "You talk to them in some Chopin, and you tell them you're hungry, and they would come up to you. And you let them know that you're hungry, and you only need, you want him to feed our family." And my mom, I was fortunate enough to understand this in Chopin language. She even told me one time when she was a little girl, my grandmother, Cecilia, she was cooking for my uncles and my mom, and they had a platter, one whole salmon on the table. And my mom says, Grandma Cecilia says, "When you finish eating, turn all the bones back to the platter." And my mom said, "Why?" And she says, "I'll show you after you finish eating your dinner." our teachings were told at the dinner table to the kids and grandchildren because we're eating, we're swallowing the teachings of our people. So after dinner was finished, my mom followed my grandmother down to the beach. She was about 13 years old. And my grandmother started singing and praying and some chopping. She gently took the platter of bones and slid it into the water, and she prayed. And as she was doing that the bones were gently put in the water, and another fish swam away. And my mom said she would have never believed it if she didn't see it. And my grandmother says, that's what we do. That's our Chilean, that's our way of life. We look after everything here that will look after you. A lot of our people, like I said, they all had places in our communities. One would read the weather, one would read the tides, one would go and read about fishing. Everybody had a place in our community. The picture, I think, I don't know, petroglyphs, is that what they're called? The Tsawout, and the creator would come along and he would change things into stone because they didn't listen. In one of our Gulf Islands, we have 3 girls that were turned into stone. My late mother, she took me and Nancy Turner over there and showed me those 3 girls that laying on the beach sunbathing, and they were turned into stone. Why did they get turned into stone? Because they wouldn't do their chores. Chaos came along and said, if you don't listen and pay and help your parents and do your chores, you're going to be turned into stone. And when I went to see them, they're laying there on their tummies. You could see their legs and their arms, their heads. You could see their body. And they're still there today. So that's how we were conducted. This is how we looked after ourselves because of the 13 moons and because of the Chilean. We were the caregivers of this land. We looked after the waters. We looked after the lands. We looked after the trees. We looked after the birds. The birds are indicators as well. The Swainson's thrush in the springtime comes along in the summer, and they want to go and put some color into the salmon berries. They're the salmonberry bird. The hualush in our name. Hualush. This is Swainson's thrush. I don't know if you ever hear them in the summertime, and they're singing hualush, hualush, hualush. I don't know if you ever hear them, but they said, put some color into the berries, put some orange in the color of the berries, put some red in there, put some yellow in there, and they're flying around because they want color in there. My mom taught me all these teachings. She worked with Nancy Turner about traditional medicines, what was good for whatever ailed us. She had the 10-bark venison. So everything that's around us, the sea life, the animals, the birds, everything that's around us is vitally important to us. And I've noticed now that in the past that a lot of our people are dying from cancer. And I tried to figure out why. Why is it? So I told our chief and council we need to get more salmon in our diet. because we're lacking salmon in our diet, fish. Because for many generations we've had some sort of salmon in our diet 3-4 times a day. And all of a sudden now we're eating processed foods and our body is reacting. It can't handle the processed foods. Our band is working with the local islanders right now to restore our clam beds and our oyster beds. And we hope to get them restored to the point where we can just go there and harvest as many as we can. I only speak about the traditional perspective because that's what I know. In our communities, like my nephew Earl, he talks about the Douglas Treaty because he's the one that, he actually lived that. And with me, it's all traditional because of my mother. The reef net fishery, all the families have a reef net site. We're related to the Lundy people. We didn't have any boundaries. We used to just go back and forth and back and forth. I was talking to my niece and I said to her, I said, the government, it's just sad the way they're trying to get rid of us, and we've been here for so long. At one time or another we couldn't go upstairs in the hospital. I often wonder why my dad passed away in the basement of the hospital. Because we weren't allowed to go upstairs. My mother said it was just recently that we can go upstairs on the BC ferries. We were downstairs. She says we were downstairs. She got really tired and she didn't know where to lay down, so she was laying down and she said, I fell asleep on this coffin. The white people just wanted to get rid of us. We had to go and get a pass to go and leave the reservations. If we didn't get a pass after hours, we were thrown in jail. And to this day, we still continue having to battle the government. And they're still going on. I hear the history of my grandfather and my great-grandfather, my brother, my big brother Earl, about their battles with the government. Now we're in my generation. I hope this is going to be the last of them. I don't want my grandchildren fighting. I don't want them fighting. Right now I'm working with my brother Lou and I are working with a professor from Texas, and we're trying to finish our Sinchafan dictionary. And I asked him about the tribes in the South, in America. He says they don't have to fight for their land. He says anytime that, Port Angeles, when they found all those remains and everything, the government was there and gave them more land and helped them out and gave them all their needs. Why do we have to fight for everything here in Canada? They're so well off back down south that we're just, they got everything. Their government accommodates their needs. And I said, did you have to wait to make, when you get land from them, do you have to wait for the status, the status of your land? And he says, no, didn't have to wait. It's considered native land right away. for many generations, like I said, you know, our Chilean is what conducted us. Hales was on top of the chart. The next level on our chart was our dancers, the Swanky, and the next people. And that's how we conducted ourselves. We had high respects for Hales, our creator. A lot of the petroglyphs that we see around today are reminders to let us know that we have to look after the land when we're turned into stone. Hales gave this husband and wife a special gift. And he told this man, he says, I'm going to give you a special gift. And I don't want you to share it with anybody. I don't even want you to tell your wife, he said. I want you to keep it to yourself. So he went home and he was so happy. He was so excited he couldn't wait to share it with his wife. And he said, oh gosh, no, I can't tell my wife. He says, well, maybe in the privacy of our room I can share it with her. So he did. And he shared it with her, and he said that Hales gave him a special gift. Well, Hales found out the next day, and he said, if you share it with anyone, I'm going to turn you into stone. And to this day, that couple fled, and he was trying to help his wife flee, and he turned into stone to this day, and it's there. So we do have reminders. They're not just stories. They actually happened. And that's how we looked after each other, and that's how we respected each other. And for many generations, we've been the caregivers of this land. The Salish Seas, you know, we have traditional names for all our territory. We have traditional names for all the islands. We have traditional names for everywhere where we travel. We have traditional names and why they got that name. These practices went down for many generations. And I just wanted to, like I said, I'm just the traditional, sharing my traditional knowledge in terms of our Chilean and the way of our life. And this is what I have to say. Thank you.